Today, I'm giving you my top tips for how to achieve body confidence. Hello, Starlets. I'm Sarah from Everyday Starlet. Welcome to my channel. I make videos to inspire you to be the best version of yourself and live your dreams. So if you want to be an Everyday Starlet, be sure you hit that subscribe button. If you want to know how to be more confident in your body, then just keep watching. Before I get into my tips, I want to explain a little bit about why I'm making this video. My Instagram account over the years has actually developed into a very body positive, body confidence account. It kind of happened on accident. I think I was just trying to really figure out how to be confident in my own body, and I just started posting about it, and the response I got was just incredible, and that's just how my Instagram account started growing. So if you follow me on Instagram, you probably know a little bit more of my story from there, but if you only follow me on YouTube, or if you're new to my channel, welcome. But I just want to explain a little bit briefly about my body confidence journey. Growing up, when I was very, very young, starting very, very young, I was very overweight, I was very insecure, I had absolutely no confidence, no self-worth whatsoever, and that actually led to a lot of self-destructive behavior, including a lot of binge eating until I was in pain. It led to a lot of really bad relationships that I got into because I just didn't feel like I deserved better, and I just got to a certain point in my life a few years ago where I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna learn to love myself. So that's kind of how my journey of self-love kind of got started. So since I started posting about self-love and body confidence on Instagram, one of the #1 questions that I get on my Instagram is, how do I get to be as confident as you? Well, that's where this video comes in. I will admit I'm probably not the most confident person on the planet, and I will also admit that I am not confident every minute of every day. I have my ups and my downs, and honestly, I think we all do. I don't think there is anybody out there who is truly confident in themselves all the time in every area of life, but I think there are people who are more confident than others, and I think there are some people who have to work harder at it than others. I'm simply somebody who came from absolutely no confidence to now having some confidence, and I would like to share with you how I learned to achieve that confidence. So let's get into the tips. Tip #1, and you have to let me finish before you turn off the video, because this one might be a little controversial, but I'm going to explain. The first tip is to develop a healthy lifestyle. Now, before you freak out, I want to make it very, very clear when I say this. Your body confidence should not be determined by your size, your shape, your age, or any of those factors. You can be any size, any shape, any age, and you can still achieve body confidence. That is not where I'm going with this. I am not going to tell you to lose weight. I am not going to tell you to change your body at all. That is not what this is about. When I say healthy lifestyle, it simply means a combination of fitness, which basically just means being active because bodies like to move, and it means eating foods that make you feel good. I do not mean to torture yourself and try to lose weight. So let me tell you a little bit about my journey with a healthy lifestyle, and hopefully you can learn something from this. I struggled with my weight and my body image for many years, from when I was very little. And when I got to my teens and my early 20s, I actually reached my peak weight to the point where I actually had doctors telling me that I was headed for some health problems if I didn't get my weight under control. So I started to, diet, exercise, but honestly, it was out of deprivation. It was out of torturing myself. I fully believed that whole no pain, no gain attitude, or no pain, no lose. I don't know, the saying is odd, but whatever. I did lose weight, and when I got to about 25, 26, I was at the thinnest weight that I have ever been and ever probably will be in my life. And I was 100% convinced that when I got to my goal weight, that I would love myself, I would be confident, I would find the love of my life, and I would have the career that I'd always dreamed of and be making tons of money. None of those things happened. I got to my goal weight, or what I thought was my goal weight at the time, probably as thin as I could ever go and not start having some serious health problems by being too thin. I still hated my body. I still hated myself. I was still getting in relationships with people who were treating me horribly. My career was not going the way I thought it was going to be. Basically, losing all that weight and torturing myself while doing it did not solve all my problems. Shocker, I know. But honestly, at 25, 26, that came as a surprise to me, because everything I had ever been sold was that being as thin as possible would get me everything that I wanted. That didn't happen. But I will tell you right now, at 40 and at the weight that I'm at right now, I am a million times more confident than I ever was at 25 at my thinnest weight, which I was only at my thinnest weight at 25, like 25, 26 for like maybe a year to 2 years, and then the weight started piling back on. It's been a yo-yo ever since, but right now I am in a much healthier place physically and mentally, and I have been able to maintain my weight much more easily than I ever have in the past. I don't torture myself. I tell you that story because I hope it inspires you that you are never too old, it is never too late, and it is not about the number on the scale at all. I firmly, firmly believe that. When I say a healthy lifestyle, what I really mean is finding physical activities that your body likes and that your body enjoys. Do it out of love. Do it out of self-love and making yourself feel good. Our bodies are meant to move. They're meant to be active. Does that mean run a marathon? It might for some people, it might not for others. For some people, training for a marathon and running a marathon might be the best thing that you could possibly do for yourself. For other people, it might be the worst possible idea for you. It's all about what feels good for you. It's not about doing it to torture yourself. It's not about getting up every day and telling yourself, oh, I have to do this. It's about finding something that makes you get up every day and say, I get to do this because I love doing this for me. That's gonna look different for different people. It's gonna be a different level of fitness for different people. I'm actually thinking about doing a video about some of my favorite at-home workouts and things like that. So if you guys want to see that, give me a thumbs up, leave a comment below. I've been finding a lot of stuff to do at home and stay active, and so if you guys want some of my suggestions for doing that, I'll definitely make a video about that. But honestly, it's gonna look different for different people. For me, a big turning point in my life was when I started to lift weights. Am I a bodybuilder that's going to be competing in fitness competitions? No. But honestly, for me, lifting weights made me feel strong. Like, it physically made me feel strong. And there were times, honestly, when I would get up and I would be lifting weights. I have some weights at home. I do my workouts at home. And, I would be, doing my weights. And there were times when I was just like crying through the whole thing because I was just feeling so overwhelmed and stressed by things that were going on in my life. But the actual act of like the commercial, you pick stuff up, you put them down. But like picking up something heavy and being like, I'm strong enough to hold this, it was so empowering for me. And when you're empowered, you're more confident. So that was a big turning point for me. Another thing that has really helped me that I'm actually starting to get a little bit more into now, but it's something that has helped me in the past, is dance. I loved dance. I firmly believe that every woman should take a belly dancing class at some point in her life. There's no other thing that is more a celebration of a woman's body than belly dance. I just 100%, it's like, it's actually easier to do if you got a little jiggle. It's about the the female form, and it's just, I've always found it to be unbelievably empowering. So those are just a few things, and again, I will do a video on suggestions for home workouts that I really love if you guys want to see that video. But it's really about finding what works for you and what you enjoy. It's not about doing this and saying like, I have to reach this weight, or I have to do this because if I don't do this, I won't look like this other person. Like, it's not about that at all. It's just about finding something that you enjoy, that gets your body moving, that gets your heart rate elevated a little bit, that makes you feel alive. And I think a lot of times too, if you choose something like, again, like training for some kind of a road race, or lifting weights or something, or like choosing something that has a goal that is not necessarily a physical goal, and I'll get into setting goals a little bit later, but doing something where you're like, hey, I lifted this much weight today, I wonder if next week I can maybe lift a little bit more. And it's like you start seeing those improvements, and you start setting a goal that is not a goal of like in your physical appearance, but it's a goal of actually physically doing something. I think that is hugely empowering. Part of a healthy lifestyle is also food, and I do not mean depriving yourself. It does not mean never eating your favorite foods again. What it means for me, and healthy eating that is important for me and has really helped me, is choosing to eat foods that feel good in my body. Not just that I enjoy eating, but foods that I actually feel good after I eat. Because I just came to the decision that I think for me, and I've had a lot of binge eating issues, and a lot of my binge eating issues were essentially eating things that I enjoyed a little bit too much, but just eating until I was in pain, and that was a problem for me. And now I want to eat things that once I eat them, after I eat them, I still feel good. I still feel good afterwards. If you do decide you really want to eat something and you really love something that doesn't really make you feel good after you eat it, I don't mean food guilt at all. Let go of food guilt. It's not about that. It's about like, how does your body feel? You know, for me, I don't eat regular pasta. Don't do it. Used to live on it. Don't do it anymore, because when I eat pasta, I feel awful afterwards. My stomach just doesn't digest it very well. I end up feeling bloated. I feel sluggish. And I usually still feel hungry after I eat it because it just doesn't fill me up. And after a while, I just told myself, you know, why am I doing this? Do I really enjoy this food enough to feel horrible after I eat it? And for me, eating things that feel good in my body, whether they're quote unquote good foods or quote unquote bad foods, if it feels good in my body, first, I've never given up French fries. I don't eat French fries every day because I don't have access to French fries every day. But, you know, it's one of those things where I'm not going to completely give up things that I enjoy, but it's finding a way to eat them and enjoy them so that I still feel good afterwards. I have a whole video talking about how I got started on my weight loss journey and giving tips and stuff. That's not what I want this video to be about. I will say doing those things and putting myself on a healthy lifestyle out of self-love instead of self-hate has gotten me closer to my quote-unquote body goals than I have ever been before in my life. But it's truly not about that for me anymore. So that's why I encourage you, if you're looking to achieve body confidence, it's not about creating the body that you think that you want or the body that you think will get you that level of confidence, because honestly, it won't if you're torturing yourself while you're doing it. But if you choose a healthy lifestyle that works for you and that is treating your body kindly and treating your body out of respect, because you know that you are worth feeling good and you are worth that positive treatment, that will automatically increase your confidence. Regardless of how your body looks, it will make you feel more confident as a result, because treating your body well and knowing in your heart that you deserve to feel good is a huge, huge step to achieving confidence. Tip number 2, get control of the media that you consume. We have never been more empowered in the history of our lives about what it is that we choose to consume as far as the media around us. Obviously, some things are unavoidable. If you drive down the street, you see a billboard, you're gonna see the billboard, regardless of whether you wanna see the billboard or you don't wanna see the billboard. However, there was a time, and I think part of my issue with confidence was growing up in an era of like the 90s supermodel, and you know, I was obsessed with fashion magazines, and because that was the entertainment that was out there, that was my exposure to fashion, that was my exposure to media. There were a limited number of media sources where I could get inspiration, where I could get, you know, news, important news like celebrity fashion, that kind of stuff. There was a limited amount of places where I could get that, and so it was very limited as to the images that I was seeing. There was a, you know, a very specific body type, a very specific look that was constantly being shoved in my face, that like that's the only acceptable look to have. That's not to say that that type of media it's probably always going to exist. It's probably always going to be a thing. But now with social media, we have so much more control over what it is that we consume regularly. We choose who we follow. We choose what we see, with the exception of some of those annoying ads. But you know, hey, just scroll right past those. So you now get to choose who you follow. So if you are following any accounts that do not make you feel good, that make you feel bad about yourself, that make you feel bad about your body, unfollow. Or, you know, if it's someone who you know, you can always mute them, you know, or unfollow them on Facebook. Or there's ways around having to constantly see things that are making you feel bad just in your face on your social media. And start following accounts that make you feel good about yourself. I would highly encourage you to try to find accounts of people who you know, you feel like represent you and your particular look, whether it be your body shape, your ethnicity, your age, anything like that. I highly encourage you to find accounts where you see people who, you see yourself in to help empower you, because I think that's important. I also think it's really great to follow people who have a lot of diversity, who have different looks from you, but maybe different from what you see in mainstream media, because I think it helps us to realize that there is not one specific type of look that is acceptable, that is beautiful. I think it's really important for us to realize that there are so many different looks out there, and there are so many different people out there who are beautiful physically. I mean, we'll get to the internal beauty thing in a minute, but I think it's just really important just to realize that like physical beauty is not manifested in one particular look. So by all means, I definitely follow accounts with women who have, you know, a fuller bust, who have blonde hair, who like red lipstick. I definitely follow accounts like that. But you know, I follow a lot of accounts of women of different ethnicities, different sizes, some women who are very, very plus size, some who are more traditionally thin, you know, because I think it helps to remind you that beauty can be in many different shapes and sizes and in different looks. And I think that it's really important, and I think it can help you gain confidence by reminding yourself constantly that there isn't just that one thing. You know how everybody always says that, like, if you think about that there's only one soulmate out there for you, it makes it seem so unachievable. It's the same way with that ideal body type, or that one body type that the media keeps telling you that you're supposed to be. There isn't just one acceptable look. There isn't just one acceptable way to look. And if you constantly are reminding yourself of that, it can just increase your confidence and help you feel so much better about yourself. Beauty doesn't seem as unattainable anymore. You can start seeing it in yourself as well as in other people. So I don't really think that I could talk about my confidence journey and encouraging people to have confidence without talking a little bit about selfies on Instagram, because that is kind of what I'm known for. My lingerie Instagram selfies. Okay, so I got started doing my Instagram lingerie selfies. I actually started with a swimsuit, I think. And I was not one to wear swimsuits. I don't even know how to swim because I refused to wear swimsuits for most of my life. I was never comfortable in them. And I happened to randomly buy a swimsuit and tried it on. And I was kind of like, ooh, I think I kind of look good in this, which is not something that I ever thought in my mind. And so I was like, maybe I should take a picture of this. Whatever, I don't have to post it. I don't share it anywhere. I took a picture and I was like, okay, I kind of look good in that picture. Again, this was not something that I ever thought of myself. So I was like, all right, maybe I'll post it. And I posted it with a story essentially about you know, how I had overcome so much self-esteem issues and how uncomfortable I was with posting it and how I didn't know how to swim because I'd always been so uncomfortable. And the response that I got from people about how they related to my story and things, it was just overwhelming. And it just made me want to do that more. It was a slow process. I think the first time I posted a lingerie selfie on Instagram I think there was like a contest that a brand was doing or something about like telling your story of like body confidence or body positivity or something. And I was like, okay, well, I'll get one of their sets and I'll try it on and I'll post a picture. And I did, I have to admit, edited a lot in the beginning. I definitely edited my photos quite a bit. Still do edit them, but we'll get to that in a minute. You know, I shared it and the brand actually reposted it. I didn't win the contest, but the brand reposted it, and I just was like, wow, I kind of feel like I want to keep doing this. And so I kept, you know, I got a few sets and, you know, lingerie sets, and started taking pictures of myself. And for me, taking pictures of myself and like doing everything myself, I think took some of the fear out, because it was always like, nobody has to see this. You know, in my mind, I could take a picture and I never had to post it. If I took the picture and I didn't feel beautiful and amazing in it, then the world never had to see it. So, and then I kind of started doing that. I started learning more tricks, more camera angles. I actually have a whole YouTube video showing how I take most of my Instagram pictures, so you can be sure to watch that if you want to do this. But yeah, the more I started doing it, and then I would take the photo and, you know, I would edit it, and, you know, I would share it, and then I would get so much positive feedback. And honestly, I will tell you, in the beginning, every time, I would be like, I'd have my finger over the share button, and I'd be like, do I really want to do this? Do I really want to post this? I don't really know if I want to put myself out there like this. And I would, it was like this conversation. I had to psych myself up to do it, and then I would share it, and then it was unbelievable the response that I got from people about, you know, how much they related to me sharing my journey, to me sharing my story, to watching me grow in my confidence. Now, am I saying that you have to start an Instagram lingerie account? No, absolutely not. You don't have to do that. That is not where I'm going with this. But people knock on selfies a lot, and I feel like some people make it seem like they're egotistical or whatever. I love taking selfies, and I highly recommend that you know, play around with your camera, you know, play around with, you know, camera remote or a timer or something, and take some pictures of yourself. They don't ever have to see the light of day if you don't want them to. You might want them to, who knows? You may just want to show them to your friends. You may want to post them in a private account. You may want to post them publicly like I do for anyone to see. It doesn't really matter. It's just, for me, the act of, you know, dressing myself up, getting myself in a nice outfit, taking a picture of it. And then for me, I know there are a lot of accounts that don't edit their photos, and I think that's amazing. I think it is amazing that there are women out there who are showing, you know, cellulite and stretch marks and you know, and rolls and all those kind of things. I think those are amazing, and I highly recommend following those accounts. For me, I like the idea of showing a different body type, because I don't have a mainstream body type, of showing a different body type in a very glamorous way. But I did notice that over time, as I was going through this process, I would start to edit my photos a little bit less. And like the photos that I post now, way less edited than they ever were in the beginning. Because I think in the beginning I was just like, all right, no, I gotta nip that in, and I gotta knock that part out, and I gotta do this, and I gotta whatever. And now it's like, and it's not just out of laziness, a little bit of laziness, but it's not just out of laziness. I actually will take a photo, and when I go to edit it, I'm like, yeah, I don't really need to nip that in as much. You know, I look beautiful just the way I am. Like, it was that process of going through it. Now, first of all, if you don't like that I edit my photos, there is not a supermodel out there, okay, that, or actress or celebrity or whatever, that is not posting edited photos. I'm sorry. And if they are posting those like without makeup, whatever, or, you know, they're doing those like naked with no makeup, blah, 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 like campaigns that they do, they are getting the absolute best photographer with the best lighting and the best angles and the best everything. Like, believe me, the people that you see in the media are presenting themselves in the best way possible. I like the idea of doing that, because for me, I just feel like, as much as I love and respect and support all the accounts that show everybody's everything and show everything as like real, for me, I like to show a different body type in a very glamorous way, because I like to think that any body type, any body, any shape, any age can be beautiful and glamorous, and that's my brand, and that's what I want to share with people. And I highly recommend that you follow both. Find people who, you know, are showing beauty and glamour in a glamorous way. Find people who show it in a real way. I follow a huge variety of accounts on Instagram and on my social medias, and I think having that variety is just so important in your life, like I said in the last tip. But the process of like taking the selfies and the photos, and you know, if you want to like tweak the lighting, and if you want to like airbrush out a pimple, or you want to do that or whatever, and you want to have this beautiful photo of yourself, for me it helped. I know some people, when they say, okay, well, I look at that photo and I think I'm never gonna look like that in real life, so it messes with their head. And I think if that happens for you, then this might not be the best tip for you. But for me, I really love that. And I feel like a lot of times when I do edit my photos, like, I can look in the mirror and think, oh, my skin looks great. And then you take a picture and you're like, ooh, okay, I didn't see that wrinkle and I didn't see that. It's because it's, you know, I'm a professional photographer, and probably the majority of the people watching are not professional photographers. So, you know, sometimes you edit a photo just to make it look like how you really see yourself in real life. So whether or not you choose to edit the photo is totally your decision. I just went off on a whole tangent about that. But for me, the process of taking the selfies and seeing myself in that way, of that glamorous way of making myself into this sort of like this model that I had always dreamed about being, but still being myself, it was huge for my self-esteem. Now, do you have to do it? No. I couldn't mention a video about growing in confidence without giving that as a tip and as an option, because it's helped me so much. But honestly, it's about you and your comfort level, which leads me to my next tip. I've lost the number. I don't remember what number tip this is, but it's the next tip. Step outside your comfort zone. And again, for me, posting those selfies was stepping outside my comfort zone. That may not be the best option for you. That's totally your decision. You know, honestly, for me, sometimes it's wearing a red lip. I love wearing a red lip, and I will wear a red lip like on camera and in pictures all the time. But where I live, wearing a red lip, I mean, now you have to wear face masks everywhere. So, you know, I hope this face mask thing doesn't last forever, because I own way too many lipsticks, but that's a whole other story. You know, for me, sometimes like wearing a bright red lip or something out, it can cause attention. And, you know, I don't live in a place where people necessarily do this on a daily basis or anything, and sometimes it's just a matter of going out and trying something new, and you know, wearing a bold lip color or something. I mean, I wear a lot of crop tops. You can't see right now, but I'm wearing one now. I never thought, ever thought I would ever be confident enough to wear a crop top. I don't wear one all the time, and you know, it's not necessarily my, well, it is my everyday look now because I'm in quarantine, but I think sometimes it can make it a little easier. Again, if you're following other accounts of people that look like you and you see how they style things, it might give you an idea of how you could style something that you've always wanted to wear, but make it be comfortable for you. But it's also about taking a risk. It's about, you know, saying, hey, I want to do this and I'm afraid to. When I say taking risks, like I'm not like, you know, going skydiving or anything like that. That's not where I'm going with this. It's stepping outside your comfort zone and doing something that's outside your comfort zone, because again, it's empowering, and like I said earlier, empowering yourself increases your confidence. That's where I was going with this. More about stepping outside your comfort zone and just doing things that you might be a little bit nervous to do because you don't really know if you feel confident enough to do it. Just do it and you will be amazed at how much that will boost your confidence. Unless it's asking a guy out on a date, because I don't agree with that, ladies. I'm just gonna tell you that right now. Men need to start stepping up and doing more work. So if that's the thing that you're thinking, like, ooh, I should ask this guy out on a date, don't do it, okay? Because if he hasn't asked you out, then he's too lazy and you don't need him. But that's beside the point. Anyway, moving on. My next tip is about gratitude, and I actually feel like I talk about this in most of my talking videos, but when I discovered, I actually read The Magic, which is a book that is a spin-off of The Secret. I have to say it really changed my life. Focusing on the things that I'm grateful for and appreciating the things that I'm grateful for, it's changed everything. It becomes about accepting the things that are good in your life and focusing less on the negative. And that was a huge thing for me. It was like constantly focusing on like the parts of my body I didn't like, as opposed to focusing on, you know, okay, but my legs are strong and they get me where I need to go. You know, my eyes are good. My eyes are they can see things. Like focusing on being grateful. I'm in good health. Whether I have the ideal body or not, I'm in good health right now. And that is so much more important than having the perfect body type. Does that mean that I can't still want to have, you know, a certain body shape, or that I can't still want maybe my abs to be a little bit flatter or something like that? No, of course you can still do that. But it's about focusing on the things that you're grateful for. Like for example, like I've always been really self-conscious about my abs. They have always been like a huge point of insecurity for me. But I'm gonna be honest with you, like even though I have extra skin on my abs, my waist is not as tiny as I would like it to be, I have an extremely strong core, let me tell you. I do. My core muscles are strong. And you know, that is beneficial in so many ways. It keeps your back healthy. It helps me do so many things physically. It helps me lift things that I need to lift. It helps me, you know, do things that I need to do in my life. It helps me with just about everything in life. My core muscles help me with, and I need to appreciate the fact that my core muscles are so strong. They may not look the exact way that I want them to, but they're strong. So my next tip is actually about, I think I've mentioned this in a few other tips, but it's about setting goals and achieving them, because I think like small victories can be so important. And I don't just mean fitness. I talked about this in terms of like fitness goals earlier, you know, and that's something that you can do. But I also think too, you know, setting up maybe career goals or, you know, goals in your personal life, or just, you know, maybe, you know, getting rid of habits that you don't really like, or, you know, increasing your positive habits in your life. Setting a goal for yourself and achieving it, huge, huge, huge for your confidence. Not necessarily specifically body confidence, but if your overall confidence increases, your body confidence is going to increase with it, because you're going to just, again, feel more empowered, and the more empowered you feel, the more confident you're going to feel. And I also think, I mean, we've all heard about like you stand in the mirror and you just list all the things that you like about yourself and your physical appearance, and that's great. But I think it's really, really good to sit down and list your accomplishments and your achievements and the goals that you've actually, you know, set for yourself and either gotten close to or actually, you know, achieved in your life that have nothing to do with your physical appearance. I think that's so important, because I think it reminds you that, you know, yes, you want to have body confidence, and yes, it's okay to want to look a certain way, and it's okay to want to feel good about how you look, because, you know, we're human. I mean, that we want to look good, and we want people to think that we look good. But I think it's really nice to remind ourselves that we're more than just our physical appearance. And I think sometimes that can be so much more helpful than convincing ourselves that our bodies are, or our physical appearance is what we want it to be. I think sometimes reminding ourselves that like, hey, we are so much more than just our body or just our physical appearance. We can want to be beautiful. I mean, you know, we can want to wear makeup, and we can want to do our hair, and we can want to, you know, achieve a certain physical appearance, but at the end of the day, we're so complex, and we've so much more going on in our lives than just the physical. I think, you know, reminding yourself that you're smart, that you're of your education goals, of your career goals, of your achievements that you've had in your life that have nothing to do with the physical. I think it increases your overall confidence, and I think that's key. You know, I don't really think that you can necessarily have body confidence unless you just have confidence inside as well. And my last tip, which isn't necessarily specifically a tip, it's kind of like to sum things up, it's just something that I want you to remember, is that this stuff doesn't happen overnight. You can do all these things, and you're not going to wake up tomorrow and everything's going to have changed. It takes time. It's about making positive changes, and it's about making small changes every day. I did not wake up one day and be like, yeah, I look good. No, that didn't happen. It was not about, you know, faking it till I make it. It was not about that for me. It might work for you, but it wasn't what worked for me. It was about making small changes. It was about taking small risks. It was about, you know, making adjustments to my lifestyle, to being more healthy, to being more loving to myself. It was a process. It's about being kind to yourself, and don't beat yourself up if you don't achieve body confidence tomorrow, because honestly, it is a long journey, but it is so, so incredibly worth it, and you are worth it. So those were my body confidence tips, and I really, really, really hope that some or all of these tips helped you out. If you have any other questions or any other videos like this that you would like to see, let me know. Leave a comment in the comment section below. I'd love to hear from you. I love your suggestions. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please give it a big thumbs up. Share it with somebody who you think will find it helpful. You want to be an everyday starlet, be sure you hit that subscribe button. I hope everyone is staying safe and healthy. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you join me next time.